What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA, and yeah, a friend of mine asked me to check out this video talking about Lord of the Rings and Ring of Power. They saw that I just did a previous video. They said, hey, what do you think about this one? So I went ahead and checked it out, and I checked out a lot of other YouTubers. They'd already made comments on the video, some positive, some negative. I have a different take on this particular topic and what this woman is talking about, Sophia Novete. And we know that she's going to be in the new Rings of Power, playing the character called Princess Disa. People feel some kind of way about it, you know, whether you like this woman, whether you don't like this woman. I'm here to actually discuss a particular point about representation. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and play the video and I'll give my comments along the way.
Love is for everybody to come on the journey where those two worlds collide and where we don't change anything, but we interpret everything in this incredible, unique way.
By the way, interpreting everything in this incredibly unique way, code name for we ain't sticking to the script, we ain't gonna be true to the game. This is gonna be what we want it to be. This ain't gonna be anything close to what y'all thought it was gonna be or what it should be. This is gonna be what they want it to be, and that's just the bottom line.
It means absolutely everything. It is everything. It is everything for people of colour. It is everything to progress forward in the film and television industry.
Hold up, just real quick. This term people of color keeps popping up, and you know, BIPOC, right? Somebody told me, I asked somebody, I was having a conversation, I was like, hey, what does BIPOC mean? Right? Like BIPOC, like people keep talking about BIPOC this, BIPOC that. She just said people of color, and I had to look it up because I didn't know what BIPOC meant, and it means Black, Indigenous, people of color. And I'm like, when did we start saying that? When did we start saying BIPOC? I don't know. You're black. You're a black man. I'm a black man. T's a black man. She's a black woman. That's what it is. What are we doing? Why are we coming up with all of these weird old terms to try to describe something? Stop reinventing the wheel, man. Black is fine. Black is beautiful. Just keep saying black. What's the problem? I just wanted to get that off my chest because that's just been bothering me lately. Like, who came up with these terms?
Industry to be doing something of this scale and to be positioned as Princess Disa, as a woman of color, as a mother, is exactly what our industry and what this incredible piece of television needs. Everyone was cast because,
and this is the thing about representation, how she says, like, representation is everything. Representation means everything. Look, it means everything to you, lady, but like, representation is such a, like, to say representation means everything, like, is an overestimation. And I don't know who is coming up with this stuff. It's just a huge overestimation of what really means something in the large scheme of things, and what really means something in life. Like, I guess there's probably a couple of people down the line that are gonna be, oh boy, I saw a black person in Lord of the Rings, I'm so happy. Like, somebody might be saying all of that crap because it means everything to them. But I'm gonna tell you, like, there's a reason why black representation in things, especially in 2022, don't stand up. Like, there's been tons of representation for decades upon decades upon decades. We just lost the great Nichelle Nichols, right? She was in Star Trek, right? Going back to the 1960s, okay? This woman was in the 60s making science fiction and fantasy, okay? The same kind of genre that this thing belongs in, you know, sci-fi fantasy, a little different, but nevertheless, there was Nichelle Nichols back then doing what was was essentially fantasy, a fantasy show, okay? So, and you know, she was doing that for this, what, 60 years? She's been a representative. If you want to talk about representation, she was doing that 60 years ago. That was before I was even born. Eartha Kitt, right? We had Eartha Kitt. She was in Batman. That was also in the 1970s. Going to Star Trek Generation. Yeah, Whoopi Goldberg in that show, you know? And on and on and on and on. We had the chick from the Matrix, right? You have tons and tons and tons of representation all across the board. You had Zoe Saldana doing a whole lot of sci-fi fantasy stuff right now as well. I can probably go to every single year and find a black woman doing some sort of sci-fi fantasy or whatever, entering into some sort of a fantasy world. So to say that that kind of representation is somehow, you know, unique or different, it doesn't really stand up to history, right? We had history and we can see what people have done throughout history. So yeah, it just kind of doesn't make sense. But more than that, like, representation doesn't really mean anything when it comes to entertaining people. Like, you could go to a show in this same genre like Game of Thrones, right? And you know, I know a ton of black people that love Game of Thrones, okay? Loved Game of Thrones, all right? Swore by it, said it was their favorite show at the time, their favorite show on television, and it wasn't because it had a whole bunch of black people in it or people of color in it or anything like that, okay? It was because it was a good show, well written, well told, at least until that last season. But it was a really solid show from beginning to end. They liked the show for the show, not because, oh, it has all of this look at all the representation that's in it, okay? Because you could throw a whole bunch of black people in a show, and if the show is bad, the show is bad. That thing is gonna get canceled lickety split. All right. If you talk to some folks, you know, black people or whatever, you'll say, hey man, who was your favorite character in Game of Thrones? And it's like hardly any of them call that dude the Unsullied. Oh yeah, that was my favorite character. Like, a lot of them like Tyrion, right? Like, Tyrion was my dude. And it's like, yeah, that dude is like the furthest thing from a black man. And none of these dudes is like, you know, I feel represented by this little short white dude with a beard. Like, nobody cared, man. It was like, hey, I like the character of Tyrion because Tyrion is a dope character. Love him. That's why I like Tyrion. And it had nothing to do with skin color. It had everything to do with the way that character was written, the way that character was acted. That's what matters. So talent beats all of this representation stuff anyway. Representation does not make your show better. It absolutely does not, and neither does standing on the name of Tolkien. If you have a trashy show, it's a trashy show. I don't care. Well, Tolkien is the guy that... It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because you know, like in the back of these guys' heads, they think, hey man, we're doing something for the black community. You know, I hope that's not what they're thinking, but you know, they're kind of thinking that in the back of their heads. You know, like, these guys like to think that they're like, you know, really helping out the black community. We're gonna put a black person in this position, and that's gonna really help the black community. That don't help me, okay? That don't help people. Maybe in your head that kind of helps you, but in reality, for black folks, I'm gonna tell you right now, it doesn't do anything. Putting people on don't fix the problem, okay? Putting people on don't fix the problem. If they are not connecting, like, her situation to the reality of the situation, to what it takes to get to her point. Like, for instance, it would have been like if you somehow was able to say, yeah, I'm in this spot and here's how I got there. You know, like, I don't know this woman. She might be a great actress for all I know. Okay. But saying out here that, you know, representation this and representation that'll mean so much to, you know, young black women and mothers and this, that, and the third, that ain't gonna mean nothing. Okay. What's gonna mean something is, hey, how did you get to where you got to? Oh man, you know, like, I had to grind, man. You know, like, I was doing stage plays. I was doing like little small roles. You know, I had to do commercials and all that kind of stuff like that. I was taking acting classes around the clock. Like, you know, like, if they asked the question to her, you know, and, you know, what does it mean to bring representation to Tolkien fantasy? You know, an answer like, you know, what I'm representing is the grind of going to work, getting up at 3 a.m. to get ready for an audition, you know, practicing and running through my lines with my mom. You know, I had to take all of these small little part-time jobs, but, you know, in the meantime, I was like working on my craft. I was building, you know, that's what the message that you want to get out there. You know, it's not just like my skin color somehow got me on, so I got to now represent for all the young girls that dream of doing this one day. And, you know, they don't know. Here's what you do, young ladies. You want to be like in my position one day, you got to grind till you shine. That's what you got to do. You got to get up early. You got to go to work. You can't sleep. You got to be on point. You got to be on your game at all times. Okay. That's the message that actually would resonate and would mean something in regards to what this whole thing is about. If you're trying to do something to, you know, give a positive message to the black community, that's what they need to hear. That's what we all need to hear, to be honest with you, black, white, whatever, because right now we're living in an era where, you know, kids are just kind of lost. It's funny, like, I was watching this show and it was talking about like how kids know how to level up on a video game by completing certain tasks, going from task to task to task, and it's kind of completing it. That's basically what she should be talking about. Hey, you know what? I did this, and that's why it means something to me, because now I can stand up here and teach y'all how to do it. Not just stand up there and talk about your skin color and everything like that. Kids need the blueprint. People want the know-how. How did you do that? How did you get there? Okay. And that's what's so cool when you can watch a YouTube video and you can see somebody like Young Ripper that's sitting out here saying, this is what I did, you know, and you can watch his process. You can go and watch his process throughout the entire thing, and you can see where this man came from. And it had nothing to do with, well, I'm black and you got to support me because I'm black. No, support me because I'm talented, I'm good, and I'm going to give you guys something that you've been begging for. That's what it's about. So, and it's like, look at the smirk on this guy's face. It's like he knows this lady is just reading the company line. He knows it, and he's just kind of like, man, I'm glad I ain't got to say this crap.
They were the absolute best person for the role, and to be part of a redress of balance within this world is an honor.
The absolute best person for the role. Well, you know what? You know, let's hold up. Run that back. Let me run that back.
Everyone was cast because they were the absolute best person for the role, and to be part of a redress of balance within this world is an honor.
You know what? She actually is right. Like, the people that got picked for this role, and these roles are about the redress of balance in this world. That's what this is all about. And she just said it. It's about the redress of balance in this world. This ain't about being true to Tolkien. This ain't about being entertaining even. We're not even talking about entertainment anymore, okay? We're talking about redressing balances. That's what we're doing. and like I said, if you really are trying to redress the balance of this world, then what you got to do is take it back to the blueprint stage. And then you got to talk to the young kids and everybody really. But the balance of this world, if you're saying, hey man, it's just out of balance, these black kids is over here not achieving or whatever it is that you think is going on, then you got to address what's the issues, what's the problems. Number one problem right now is, you know, the leadership and in the community is just not where it needs to be. That's just the reality. That's just the reality. Leadership ain't where it needs to be, and it needs to change. That's it. That's it. So start there. And then her being in this particular position, like I said, should be more about saying, hey, here's what you got to do. Grind till you shine. You know, you want to be in my position. You know, here you go. Here's how I got there. You know, I didn't get there by just being a black woman. That didn't get me anywhere. That's not helping redress the balance of this world. You just being a black woman. I know she was told to do this by Amazon or whoever was covering this. But see, I would have did a follow-up and been like, hey, look, I'm gonna need you guys to pay attention to something. Yeah, whatever with that. Grind. Find out something that you're good at, that you love doing, and then just go at it 120%. Put everything you got into it. That's how you're gonna be in a position where you can take roles like the one I'm taking. Go out there and get the... Now, I don't know if she really did all of that stuff or if they really did just pick her because she's black. But nevertheless, that's what's needed. That's what's ultimately needed. Not all of this fluff. This fluff don't solve not one problem, Amazon. It don't solve shit. So if you're really trying to do something to, you know, help or whatever, if you're trying to do something that's going to make a difference in somebody's life somewhere down the line, just throwing random black people in shows isn't going to get the job done. You got to actually have somebody that's saying, hey, come on. Let me take you up under my wing, young sire. I'm gonna show you everything that you need to do. But anyway, folks, that'll do it for me. What do you think about this whole representation thing? I like I said, I just think that they're missing the boat. It's an overestimation of what, you know, how important it is in the community. But nevertheless, leave me your thoughts and your opinions down below. And thanks for watching. See you next time.